See this?
All got so quiet so quickly. That was so nice. So, it's lovely that you're so quiet, but my friends, this is a service where you are not going to need to be quiet, because this is a service where we expect to have a whole lot of rejoicing, because the two men who are becoming Bnai Mitzvah today, and they are indeed officially Jewish men on this day, they have worked incredibly hard to prepare. And so we hope that throughout the service that you will sing along, that you will say readings along with them, because they have really worked incredibly hard to prepare a beautiful service for you. So, before we begin, a few words of introduction. First, if you happen to have your cell phones on you, now would be a perfect time to turn them off or onto silent or whatever will allow you to be fully focused in this moment. We also hope that you picked up a siddur when you came into the room today so that you can really follow along and participate. And we're going to start just to sort of get everyone in the Shabbat sort of mood, with singing Moda Ani. So if you'll join us, Moda Ani can be found on page 68.
Moda Ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, שהחזרת נשמתי בחמלה, בחמלה. רבה אמונתך, מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים. החזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה, בחמלה. רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך.
So it is now our pleasure to invite up our Bnai Mitzvah to lead us this morning. Yamdu, Evan v'Moshe, Ben Ariel v'David, ha-Bnai Mitzvah.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Our service begins on page 170 in the Blue Prayer Book.
May my life be one link in a chain of goodness. As I say the prayers of my ancestors, help me to recall their devotion and faithfulness, their joy and suffering which are in every word. Holiness is my heritage. May I be worthy of it.
May our tradition live in me and pass from me to generations I shall never know, enriched by the truth that I have found and the good deeds I have done. So may I fulfill my task on earth and receive my blessing.
And when the service ends and the prayers have ceased, help me to bring their spirit into the world in which I live. May I love God above all and my neighbor as myself, and be a living witness to the truth that never changes.
We join in the singing of Matovu on page 172.
tohu ohalecha Yaakov ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael ma tohu ohalecha Yaakov ohalecha Yaakov Yisrael
ואני ברוב חסדך אבוא ביתך אשתחווה אליך לקודשך
Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tohu, ohalecha Yaakov, ohalecha Yaakov, Yisrael.
Please turn to page 195 and rise for the call to worship.
Yain lai 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 lai. Yain lai 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 lai. Yain lai 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 yain lai 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 lai. Yain lai 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 lai. Yain lai 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 yain lai 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 lai. Yain lai 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or uvorei hoshech, Osei shalom uvorei et hakol, Hameir la'aretz v'ladirim, Alacha v'rachamim, Uvtuvo machadesh b'chol yom tamid, Ma'aseh v'reshit, Marabu ma'asecha Adonai.
Kulam bechokma asita, malach haaretz kinyanecha, titbarecha Adonai Eloheinu, al shavach ma'aseh yadecha, va'al me'orei or she'asita, yifa'arucha selach, or chadash al Zion ta'ir, v'nitzche, kulanu mehira le'oro, Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Hamarot. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light into the eyes. More welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven.
I have no light to give the morning. My Torah, my special human gift, is words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them. You who redeemed the sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer Hamarot.
We join and sing the Shema at the top of page 200.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושינתם לבניך, ודיברתם בם, ושבתך בביתך, ומלכתך בדרך, ושוכבך ובקומך, ושרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Sing the song of men and women, join in understanding and respect. The song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished. A gift from our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content. Her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed. The song of peace.
Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neda b'kodesh, noratehi lo rozefele, noratehi lo rozefele.
שיר החדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמחה שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו,
Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Yai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai.
Please turn to page 205 and rise for the tefillah. Adonai tzefetai tiftach ufia yitahilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, V'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, U'mevii gula livnei bneihem, Leman shemo ba'achava, Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Abraham V'Ezrat Sarah. Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol Ata Rav Le'Hoshia, Mechayei Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayei HaKol B'Rachamim Ravim, Somech Noflim V'Rofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Mishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechayei, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Ata L'Hayot Hakom, Baruch Ata Adonai, Mechayei HaKol.
You are the open door that beckons me in. Peeking around the doorframe, I begin to enter into your glory.
You move me forward, O Eternal, to step beyond self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you.
In the house of the Eternal, I found my questions. Waiting to be posed, they fill me with wonder.
Sit with me, Eternal Teacher, encourage my seeking. As I fill my hours with your mitzvot, so shall I be filled.
And we join in Kedusha on page 208.
יקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמרגישים אותו בשמי מרום, כך כתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה.
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד.
ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. And we're going to join together now in a prayer for peace with the words of Sim Shalom on page 216.
שים שלום, טובה וברכה, שים שלום, שים שלום, שים שלום, טובה וברכה, שים שלום, שים שלום, שים שלום, טובה וברכה, שים שלום, שים שלום. עושה שלום, ויעקב ישראל ואימרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואימרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואימרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואימרו אמן.
We're going to take a pause now in all of the Hebrew and all of the singing and all of the prayer, just to give ourselves a sense of orientation, to let you know where we've come from, where we're going, and where I think we're going to end up. These two young men have been preparing for this day for quite some time, but they are part of a great chain of tradition, and they have been following in the footsteps of people that came generations before them in committing themselves to Torah learning. What they just did was really remarkable, but what they're about to do, what you're about to see, is going to be the fulfillment of that tradition. These young men led services and spoke in prayers of Hebrew about the creation of the world, the universe, our ancestors, the matriarchs and the patriarchs, spoke about the experience in Egypt and of oppression and of slavery. They sang about the crossing of the Red Sea. And right now, we are quite lost, and we need two leaders to emerge in the desert to take us to the foot of Mount Sinai, where we will receive our tradition and ultimately revelation.
So it's my pleasure to invite forward their brother Ben, who is going to come and open the ark for us. We'll ask you all to please rise.
Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehakodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu.
we join now in the singing of Ki Mitzion on page 246.
Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah, Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah, Udevar Adonai Mirushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael B'kodoshato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Lecha Adonai Hagedol, Hagevor, Hatiferet, Hanetzach, Hahod. Ki cho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, Ki cho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlecha, ve'amin na'aseh lechol rosh. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol anshema te'alel Yah, 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 hallelujah, hallelujah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natam lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Notei HaTorah. Asher Tasher Kol Tuah Zarecha Hayotzeit Hasadech Shana Shana V'havta Livnei Adonai Elchecha B'makom Asher Yivchar V'shachein Shemo Sham Matzah Dedancha Tirshecha Livsharecha U'karoch V'charcha V'tzonecha Yonah et Adonai Elchecha kol hayamim, v'chi yiret mimcha haderech, ki lo tucha, seito ki yirchach mimcha hamakom asher yivchar, v'etzum shemo sham, ki yevarechacha Adonai Elchecha, v'natata hakasef, v'zarta hakesed, V'yadcha v'hangavta et hamakom asher yivchar Adonai Elchecha bo v'natata hakesef v'chol asher taved nafshecha bavaka uvarso uvayim uvashecha asher tishalcha nafshecha bavaka sham livnei Adonai Elohecha v'tzamavta ata uvetecha v'halevi asher visharecha lo tazenu ki ein lo chelek v'nachan la'ima.
מקץ 7 שנים תעשה שמיטה, וזה דבר השמיטה, שמות כל בעל מה שידו, אשר ישר ברכו, לא היגו את רעהו ואת אחים, כי קרא שמיטה לאדוני, את הנוכרים תיגוש, ואשר יהיה לך את אחיך תשמט ידיך. אפס כי לא יהיה בך אביון, כי ברך יברכך אדוני בארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך נחן לה לרשתה. רק אם שמוע תשמע בקול אדוני אלוהיך לשמור לעשות את כל המצווה הזאת אשר אנוכי מצווך היום. כי אדוני אלוהיך ברכך כאשר דיבר לך, ואהבת גויים רבים, ואתה לא תעבוד, ומשלת בגויים רבים, לך לא ימשלמו. כי יהיה בך אביון מאחד אחיך באחד שעריך בארצך אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך, לא תאמץ את לבבך ולא תכפות את ידיך מאחיך לאביון. כי פתובה תפתח את ידך לו, והבט תאביתנו די מחסורו אשר יחסר לו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן הבתורה.
Amen. So it's now our honor to invite forward their father, Andy, who's going to lift the Torah so you can see what they just read. We'll ask you to please rise.
Zot HaTorah asher sa Moshe livnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai beyad Moshe.
Please be seated.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'mim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai abocher v'atorah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael hamo u'b'nviei ha'emet b'tzedek. Tefillah l'Chavakuk Hanai al Shignot. Adonai Shamati Shimacha Yareti Adonai Pa'alnu Birchav Shanim Chayenu Birchav Shanim Todia Birogez Rachem Tezechor Elucha Meteman Yavo Bekodesh Mehar Paran Selah Kisha Shanim Kodo Utet Lenado Malacha Haaretz V'nag Fa'or Tia Paranamim Mayado Lo V'sham Chavyon Uz.
Lafanai yelech daver v'yitzei reshef l'ragala. Amad v'amided eretz ra'ah v'ater goyim v'et kotzitzu hararei yad shechu givot olam halechot olam lo. Tachat avein ra'iti achalei choshan yirgetzon yiriot eretz midyan. Havin harim hara Adonai im ban harim afecha im bayam evratecha ki tirchav al susecha marachavtecha Yeshua. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzor kol haolamim tzaddik bechol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'emah ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber u'mkayen shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al haTorah v'al ha'avodah v'al hanvi'im v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'linucha la'avod ol tifaretz al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach u'mvarchim otach yitbarach shimcha v'fid kolcha etamid l'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. This week is the holiday of Shavuot. Shavuot is the holiday where the prophet Moses takes his big journey up Mount Sinai and receives the Torah from God. We say that that was the day that we as the Jewish people received the Torah. In my life, as you just witnessed, this is the day where I received the Torah. Today it's as if I've been personally sent to Mount Sinai to receive the Torah, and as I go forward into my Jewish journey and into adulthood, I do so too with the gift of the Torah. I'm responsible from this day forward to keep traditions that date back to then. I'm responsible for doing mitzvot. For those who don't know, mitzvot means commandment. I need to take on this responsibility. The mitzvah project that we did, that Jack will go on about in a little bit, represents our first steps into carrying on mitzvot, not people who are older than I am. The amount of donations we got from our Temple Israel community is beyond what we asked for, so thank you to all the people who donated. It truly means the world to me. The other neat thing about this week's story of Shavuot, and it's the story of Moses and his brother Aaron. I have a brother right here. It's crazy that we're related, but anyway, supposedly the only time when Moses gets separated from his brother Aaron just so happens to be Shavuot, when Moses goes up Mount Sinai to get the Torah. Aaron's left with the Jewish people, and they fall a little bit off the rocker with idolacism and the golden calf, but that's a story for another day. But the moral of the story is not, brothers together, that makes everything better. No, there's a lot more. Like I said, the idea of this Jewish celebration is that we realize who we are. The Torah and the Ten Commandments make us who we are. Today I read from the Torah and I did the prayer, so I guess you could say I know who I am. This will just be the start, though. I need to remember that I've been commanded to do good deeds. I need to be a righteous, good person. I need to continue to practice Judaism by celebrating Shabbat and the holidays, doing mitzvot, giving tzedakah, eating matzo ball soup, etc. I will, boys like my ancestors, learn, make mistakes, catch whatever the world throws at me. But I will try my hardest to keep Judaism at my side with all of its traditions.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you for coming to our Bar Mitzvah and Evan's Bar Mitzvah. It means the world to us. Our Torah portion was about tzedakah. A lot of people think that tzedakah means charity in English. That's not right. Tzedakah is actually Hebrew for justice. As a matter of fact, my Torah portion says that once every 7 years, you should set aside 10% of your tithes from the field to give to the needy. Not 10% of your money, but your harvest. That goes to the needy, which helps them. That's justice, not charity. In addition to that, tzedakah helps keep a balance. The Torah says that if you don't give the needy tzedakah, they'll revolt. Believe it or not, this is very relevant today. In St. Louis, there's gun violence and a lot of crime. If these people would have had the things they needed, maybe they wouldn't have to rob people, and stuff like that. Is that charity? No. Was it justice? Yeah. Evan and my mitzvah project was to donate sports equipment to STLU Sports Outreach for this very reason. We don't think it's very just that some kids may never throw a football or swing a bat because they can't afford it. When you donate a kid a baseball bat, you give a kid this opportunity. That's justice. There are about 8 levels of tzedakah, the highest being giving what a person needs to stand on their own, the lowest being giving insufficient needs begrudgingly. You've probably heard this saying, give a man a fish and he eats for a day, teach a man to fish, he eats for life. Same principle. Maybe if you take a kid to a football game or tell him about this sport, maybe he'll be intrigued. But maybe you give a kid a football and teach him the rules, maybe he learns the sport, maybe he even gets good, maybe he gets a college scholarship. Maybe you giving him that football was enough to get him to stand on his own 2 feet. That's the idea. You don't have to have a stack of $100 bills this tall just lying around ready to give out to every charity in town. Maybe you have a tennis racket in your garage you haven't used in 10 years. You don't have to give people money, but maybe you give them like a hockey stick or something. If somehow it helps the person, it's still justice.
All right, and we have some thank yous we want to make.
All right, Mom, thank you for supporting us not just through our bar mitzvah journey, but also our entire life. No matter what, you've always find a way to brighten the mood if we're feeling down and make a good time even better.
Dad, thanks for just always being there for us, whether it's to go practice baseball or to help us with math homework. You've always been there to reach out your helping hand and been there to help us.
Ben, you were born when we were 3, so a lot of our memories really are with you, from playing in the backyard to video games on the couch. I've had so many memories with you. It's been awesome having you, and thank you for being here.
We wanted to both thank Ben because we didn't feel like it would be right. So Ben, thanks for being the best non-twin brother I could ever ask for. You put up with us all these years since day one, and we really respect you for that. So, yeah.
Nani, thank you for being a great grandma, cooking us our favorite foods, doing needlepoint for us, including sewing Cardinals sports logos for us as a bar mitzvah gift, and everything else up until now.
Pa, thanks for all the laughs and memories you gave us. They go back, as far as I can remember. And sometimes even today, if I'm ever bored or down in the dumps, I'll just think of whatever Pa said the other day, and it'll always brighten my mood. And also, thank you to both Nani and Pa for the Friday night luncheon and the Bima baskets.
Granny, thank you for enriching and enhancing our reading skills as kids, and for being just an awesome grandma, even with all that you've been through.
Grandpa L, thanks especially for helping us with the mitzvah project. Helping us make flyers was a really big help in what we were trying to do, so thank you for that.
Yeah. Mora Debbie, you're the only Hebrew teacher we've ever had. So without you, we wouldn't be anywhere near where we are here. So thank you so much for that.
Rabbis, Rabbi Amy, Rabbi Michael, thanks for helping us write our speeches. You think these were bad, they would be without the rabbis. And also for doing this whole Bnai Mitzvah thing for us. With us.
All our friends, thank you guys for coming out to see us. We know you guys are just here for the food, but still.
And also to all the out-of-town guests, we know travel is not always the hardest, so it really warms our hearts to know you come out to see us. Yeah, thank you.
Seems like a very short time ago, your father and I, along with Rabbi Amy and Rabbi Michael, were on this bima together for your baby naming about 13 years ago. We were each holding one of you in our arms. Today, I'm standing with you, looking at you eye level. Holding these babies, we wondered what would become of you. Being your mother has been quite challenging. The hardest job I've ever had. There's no option to quit. Yet, most definitely the best job ever. I've watched you guys both grow up in body and mind, becoming more understanding of people and the world around you. You both put up with my fumbles, embarrassing moments, and instead of becoming angry, we all laugh together. I thank you, along with Ben, of course, and Dad, for making my life complete. and I can't wait to find out what will become of you in the next 13 years. Jack, you're such a cool person on so many levels. You're very aware of and sensitive to other people's feelings. You are a rock, and we so admire your strength, both in spirit and body. You've way surpassed me with your smarts, your thoughtfulness, and by far, arm wrestling. You always put other people's feelings first when making decisions and are very conscious of how people will react to your choices and words. I so admire how you put everything into whatever you do, whether your schoolwork, the sports you play, or helping your little brother Ben. Evan, you were named after my grandmother, Erna. We called her Ninny. Ninny was kind and smart and strong. I feel so proud that you are all of those things. You treat those around you with kindness and respect. Life can get tough, and you always seem to pull through and do a great job on everything. There's one other trait, though, you have that makes you Evan. You have this unique sense of humor, this is from your dad, that makes me smile and laugh. You have a way of making people around you feel good and smile, and that is something special that you will always carry with you. Both of you have enriched not only our immediate five, but our families and friends as well as your community. Right now, St. Louis, and who knows where your lives will take you.
Wow, we all lose the bet. We had a bet that she would be crying all the way through because this poor woman, she grew up with two sisters and she grew up in this temple and it was, probably real neat and dainty and everything, and now she's in her adult life kind of doomed to live in a college frat environment with the four of us. Evan and Jack, to use an old baseball adage or phrase, you have truly knocked it out of the park today with your Torah portion, readings, and speeches. Your mom and I, as well as Ben, are incredibly proud of all the work and effort you put into preparing for this special day. From third grade on, you have been studying Hebrew, and especially this last year has been your equivalent of spring training for a baseball season, as you made absolutely sure you were ready for today. When I'm asked about having identical twin boys, I often respond that actually there's not very much identical about them at all once you get to know them. What is identical about the two of you is your desire to be well prepared for any task. You always want to lend a hand, but not give a handout to those in need. I was not surprised at all that you chose a sports-related mitzvah project, and judging by the equipment you've received all over my house, your efforts will help St. Louis Youth Sports Outreach quite a bit. Jack, I once asked you last year when you were trying out for your middle school 7th grade football team, what was your approach since you had never played organized football before due to the pandemic? You responded, Dad, I'm all in. I'm going at it with 100% effort. That's the way I approach my schoolwork or anything else I care about. By the end of last season, you were the starting center for the team. That approach works very well for you, Jack, as you've met those challenges in school, on the football and baseball fields, and here today. It is generally agreed by your parents that you, of our three sons, are the greatest blend of us. I cannot know what challenges await you in the days ahead, as you are now a young man, but I do know you're ready to meet all of them. And Evan, it is generally agreed by your parents that you are our son who is most like me. For better or worse, you have my apparently sarcastic sense of humor, but you also have the ability to find something funny in much of everyday life. I am not at all going to be shocked if, based upon your tremendous debate skills, which are in full use with your mom, if you become a lawyer one day. Believe it or not, your Granny Marcia and I used to argue much in the same way and, we'll put it this way, verbally spar on certain points, just as you do now with your mom. It was great training for law school. As your Aunt Amy will attest, it was sort of like being ready to go on the Supreme Court with my mother. Sometimes when you speak in that same deep voice, I also had, by the time of my bar mitzvah just a few years ago, I have to smile. Your speech today in part focused on the beginning of your journey, and although the audience can't see it, you had actually italicized your in front of journey. You also said you know you'll make some mistakes along that journey. The advice I'll give you is not to fear making mistakes and to learn from those mistakes, as that what sort of makes up the journey of life. And in conclusion for both of you, because I promised you I would be brief as I can ever be, At your teacher conferences last fall, I think it was October, more than one of your teachers said you were both viewed as leaders in their classes. Both of you told me rather emphatically, you don't see yourselves that way. I want the two of you to know, at least from your dad's perspective, that leadership's not always about how many likes or views you get from a TikTok video or Instagram post. Leadership is not always loud. It's not measured in decibels. Leaders set an example for others to follow by their actions. Leaders work hard. Leaders accomplish things, sometimes quietly. From your dad's perspective, your teachers last fall actually had it exactly right. And from this day forward, I expect both of you to lead. To start with, you can start bestowing some wisdom on your little brother out there who's become his journey towards his bar mitzvah and looks to you guys as his first base and third base coaches in life.
First, we have a few things to give you. First, we have some certificates that say, indeed, the two of you became bar mitzvah. It was funny when we were signing these. You're like, does it matter which one is which? And I was like, yeah, because they have your names on them. But also because even though you did this experience together, this was very much a moment where both of you shone in your own separate ways. You each became bar mitzvah today, and we could not be more proud of you. So we have these certificates that say that you became Bnai Mitzvah. We also have a gift certificate that comes from the URJ for both of you that will help you on a trip to Israel that we very much hope you take when you are 16 or 17 with some of your friends who are here today that we know will be the next stage of your Jewish journey. And then we also have some gifts from the temple that we hope you will use for all of your future celebrations. All right, so your dad said that he promised not to make his too long. I do have to say ours will also not be that long, but I have to say that Rabbi Michael and I have been doing Bnai Mitzvah together for more than 15 years, and this is the first time ever that we actually had to check in with each other multiple times to decide who was going to say what, because we both have so many things that we want to say to you all, so we're going to keep it short, but we wanted to do as best as possible to not repeat each other because there are just so many amazing Evan and Jack stories. So what I want to talk about is really that today you're carrying on this incredible tradition in your family and here at Temple Israel. Your grandma Susan was my religious school teacher when I was growing up and had such an impact on me, and this kind of dedication that your whole family has shown in this community is remarkable. Anyone who is here on a Friday night would be able to tell you that pretty much every Friday night, these two boys were here sitting in the back. They were here at every Bnai Mitzvah in their class. They were here in every 7th grade class. You guys did not miss a moment. When you decided that you wanted to do this special mitzvah project, instead of just handing out flyers or putting them on your invitations, you stood a religious school carpool to talk to every single car that came through that carpool line to make sure they knew what you were doing and they could participate. You have shown up in every single way. And your dad talked about what it is to be a leader, and that was so beautiful. I hope you wrote that down so you can share it with us again later. But for me, so much of leadership is truly about showing up. The fact that you showed up to everything not only showed your incredible dedication to Judaism and to this community, but for as nervous as you all were today, Rabbi Michael and I were not nervous, because we knew that the fact that you had shown up to so much meant that you were going to knock it out of the park. And you did to such a degree that there were multiple points. I'm sorry, I kept laughing because it was so funny, but you knew the service so well that you're like looking out at everyone in the crowd as you're doing your Hebrew, and it's because you knew this like the back of your hand. And it is that showing up, that being present, that is going to count in everything you do. We are so incredibly proud of you, and it has been just an absolute joy.
Ironically, I may be the one that breaks down. I wish you had put some money on me and my fragility, especially in the presence of really great Torah scholars. I want to take a minute or a moment. I'd like to take about 20 minutes, but these people have to eat. So, and it's time to celebrate. I want to point a couple of things out. First of all, some of the people that are basically in this area over here that you are deeply connected to. If you guys could just give a wave, those people that you studied with, and even
All the
even some of
friends,
the
everyone who's here who's a classmate.
Look at that. Come on.
Very shyly in the back. We see you.
I learned a story the other day. Is it your grandfather? When he came here. It's funny, they don't share these stories until the very last moment in the hallway, by the way. Thanks. And I've known them since we named them. This story about him really blew my mind. The story is that he had to flee from Europe in the Second World War. Your dad? Yeah. Okay. And when we have to run, it's amazing the things that we take with us. So what did he take?
A Torah? A Torah?
Never forget that. Never forget what he did. Never forget his decision in that moment to say, nothing else matters. Maybe some underpants and socks. My grandfather was an underwear and sock salesman, so he told me those are very important. Nothing else mattered. And Zasa Emes, Knesset. That's really what's true. You are two handles of the Torah today. And you proved that the Torah is written in you. May you always be given the blessing of schlepping the Torah with you in your heart, but also in your hands, everywhere that you go. Mazel tov, and congratulations.
So when we named you, we gave you a very special blessing. It's a blessing we are honored again to give you now. We'll do it again at your confirmation, and one day separately on your wedding day too. But we'll ask you now, if you will, to please rise. May God bless you and keep you.
May God's light shine upon you and guide you as you go on your way through life. May
God's countenance be lifted over you. May you always be granted with wholeness and with peace. Mazel tov, you guys. So we're going to continue now as we return our Torah to the Ark.
Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed. Al Torah ve'al avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al Torah ve'al avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim.
And we continue on the bottom of page 282 with the words of the Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol. Lateit gedolah yotzei Bereshit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'arzot, shelo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, ve'goraleinu kechol hamonam.
ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
287. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair.
Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai
למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
So we're here in this amazing time of joy, but so too we are thinking of those members of your family who would have been so proud to be able to see what you did today. We're thinking in particular of Fanny Barnholtz, Max Barnholtz, of Carl Katz and Erna Schild Katz, Herbert Stiefel, Katie Stiefel, Rose Weinhaus, and Saul Weinhaus. So thinking of those and all of those names we keep in our hearts, we turn together to the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach rirutei v'yamich machutei, b'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv emru amen, Yehei shmei Rabbah mavarach la'alam omei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, ta'amiran ba'alma v'emru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'emru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'emru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru amen. So a few announcements before we sing you out the door. First, when you leave this room, if you wouldn't mind, please just putting your sidurim, your prayer books, back on the cart where you got them. Thank you, Rob Aronson, for your beautiful music. And in anticipation of all of the treats and the goodies that you are going to have with our Bnai Mitzvah after the service, we need to do some blessings. So we're going to invite up Ben and also the cousins, Jessica and Meredith and Ashley and Kevin and Amanda and Megan, who are going to help us in blessings over wine and bread. Yes, go for it, Ben. Yes. Beautiful. So, my friends, we are going to sing you out the door. We'll ask our Bnai Mitzvah and their parents and cousins and Ben if you want to head on out, and you'll hang a rights, and we'll see you at the Kiddush.
Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu. Od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam.